super nervous.
Oh,
So anyways, I can't talk. But anyways, yes, I've been thinking about that. And I was outside and it's super sunny. And there's so many wasps and bees out right now and flies. It's like all of a sudden the cows are covered with flies.
oh,
And it's just simply because it's just spring and
right.
everything is still, moist, and it's just like the perfect environment for.
Yeah, we had to get out the fly spray for the horses now because
Mhm.
they're starting to get bit. Yeah, how many horses do you have, Bree?
You know what is funny is I don't talk about it, and I'll tell you why. Because we have a horse boarding business. And so
Oh,
I don't talk about it because I mean,
oh, sure.
you
Privacy, other
you
people do.
Google it
Yeah.
and it's so we have a horse boarding business.
Oh,
Don't
good
tell
for
anybody.
you. Okay. All right. All right. Let's just take this live down. It never happened.
Yeah. Not a
Nobody
big
heard that. Nobody.
Nope, I did
No.
not.
Yeah,
not a big deal.
well, it's only my live, so not too many people are going to hear it anyway. So, so
It's
um,
all right.
no,
So
you got
there's a few. But actually I like last summer I lost my horse. Um
Hey, Deej.
he colicked and passed away, and but he was older and stuff, and I don't want another horse.
Yeah, it's real. Oh, it's like just too gut wrenching, or
No,
the
I just want to do other things. I want to
gotcha.
freaking be able to just leave my house. Like I already
Oh,
like I've got cows and the dogs and the cat and the chickens, so everything just kind of keeps me home.
right.
It's
Yeah,
hard to find a farm sitter.
yeah. We are going on vacation here next month, and I'm like, have we got a horse sitter? Right? We got a horse,
Mhm.
and it's like because I can ship dogs and cats off to kennels if I have to, but
Mhm.
not you can't move the horses very well. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's a rough one. Yeah, my wife's been waiting on her entire life, so we finally got horses, and she loves it.
Yeah.
But man, they are work. We've had two horses. No, is it two? Two horses go down from colic already, and
Mhm.
it's terrible. I'm like, I used to wonder why everybody got so upset about touching horses. It's like don't touch the horses. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like for these big strong animals, it doesn't seem to take much to knock them down. It's
Mhm.
terrible. So hot weather, then cold weather, or whatever. Oh, it's just terrible. So
Mhm.
yeah. So catch
Yeah.
and cook. I got a suggestion for you. You catch a chicken and
Yeah.
then cook the
I
eggs.
I thought about that too. Yeah, you saw my video. I went clamming, and
Yeah.
it was the worst. It was the worst weather. I can't control the tide. I can't control the weather. It's like I
Right.
have one day off or whatever, and I got to run.
Right.
And it was early in the morning, and oh man, it was so nasty. And then I couldn't even catch any. Like
Yeah.
I watched all these YouTube videos, and they make it look so simple.
Right. Right.
I watched this one YouTube video. This 80-year-old woman was having her birthday, and she was clamming for the first time, and she caught her limit in like no time. We go out there. I can't catch. I mean, none.
Yeah, shrimp. You got some
I
shrimp.
got shrimp.
Oh, yeah. And it was looking like you were having to work to get into there. All right. Hey, we got hi Jen. As like Jen, Good Times Home says out there. Looks like she's at a car show right now. Uh,
I'm at
Is
Bass
that
Pro Shops.
Bass Pro Shop.
Bass
Oh,
Pro
Ooh.
Shop?
Really,
Nice.
I'm muting it.
oh, yeah. A little bit of noise there. Indian Hemlock is in the house. Hey, brother, how are you? I was out doing a hike today. As I get, see you. Looks like you got another canoe on one there. So, well, I guess I just had to be patient, Al. I started out, I was like, no Al, no Tony. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna go anyway, and we'll see who shows up. And Bree was the first one to say hi, so I'm honored. Hey, are you gonna go to the Michigan meetup? And
I don't know. It's so far. I've been twice.
hmm
I've been twice. The first time I drove my trailer, it was so far. I took a week to stay for like the weekend. I mean, I drove straight through. Like I stayed at gas stations. And gas is expensive.
yes, it is.
Like, so I literally drove across the country. I saw nothing other than just freeways
Right.
just to stay the weekend and meet up with, which I enjoyed it, but
It's a lot.
it's a long it's a lot.
I
So the
hear
next
ya.
time I flew last year, stayed in the
Mhm.
cabin, and I mean, it's such a quick trip, and I
It
just don't get
is.
very much time.
No, I
So
get.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm probably not.
yeah.
I shouldn't.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I've decided I fly a lot nowadays. It's like if I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go somewhere, I'm like, just those days of driving, you can't get them back. So
Yep.
I'm like, just bite the bullet. So DJ, he caught some pizza and he's going to cook it up in his stomach. All right, DJ, that's a good one, brother. Let's and,
Hey,
and
Mark.
Mark Kretz, I was just watching him, just had a 20-minute. Oh, I think he meant hailstorm instead of a hailstorm, but just watching his video on how to do weak arm shooting there.
Oh no, Mark is usually pretty particular when he says stuff, and he's pretty quick to point out when people says things wrong. So I think he had a hailstorm.
Yeah, you know what? He very might have. He had to haul his butt out of there, maybe. Oh, it took him no time whatsoever. I misspelled something on one of my videos, and he was like, "Check." He was like, "Pretty
That
good
must
shoot."
be
Yeah,
that's Texan for hailstorm. Up here in Canada, we calls it hail, not
yeah, that's
haul.
right. It's a hell of a thing, that's for
Darn
sure.
autocorrect.
Darn our autocorrect. And
Hi,
then we
hi,
got,
Jamie.
hey Jamie, how are you? All right, so yeah, folks, I was out hiking it today. Bree, I was looking for a waterfall for you. We have a waterfall about this high.
Nice.
It's about this high. And I was on the wrong path. So I was like, well, I'll get it another time. But supposed to be some bigger ones out west. This fall, I'll probably get out there. So I might have to hit the zoo. What was it? There's some guys are talking about doing some Waterfall Wednesday challenges this upcoming month. I don't know if you've caught wind of that or not. Al, you're nodding.
Mm,
You're aware of these people, right?
Oh,
I forgot.
I think I might have an idea of some of the people that you're talking about.
I got them. I, I I got one of them in my watch later list because I want to try to make sure I'm subscribed to everybody. But I figured I'm going to give Bree a tag out because, well, who is the
yeah.
master of
Yeah,
all
I mean,
she's the one
waterfall
that's
yeah.
been
Wednesday?
doing it.
You should let me know because I'm not sure because I mean,
Yeah. Well, let
come
me.
on.
I know. I'm like, no, this is not just for a month. This is a way of life for Bree here. So
Let's
Yeah.
go.
let's see here. Let me scroll on down and see if I can find it.
I
Ooh, where'd it
went
be?
I went for a walk this morning. I actually went to
Here it
why
is.
does it always not work? I always have the weirdest stuff happen to me. I went to the sound to go look for maybe, and I don't even know. Sometimes things in my head sound like good content.
Uh-huh.
Have you guys ever seen like live sand dollars?
No.
I mean, is it
No.
something
No.
that's common for people? Like, I feel like it's a little bit uncommon. Every time you see a sand dollar, it's usually on the beach. It's the white ones that are dead, and mostly you're just hoping for um
Remnant?
even a whole one on the
Uh-huh.
beach.
Right.
We have a beach down here. Anyways, I went there this morning to go look for sand dollars, and the tide was low, but it was still freaking high.
Wow.
I swear I don't understand the tide. I don't understand it. It's like it seems so simple. You look on the chart. I don't know.
Yeah, charts are not always right.
Yeah, you've had a few challenges on a few of your videos.
I swear, I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back. It's so annoying. I'm like, I don't know.
So Bree, it's JTD Outdoors and Bark Eater are seeming to be doing this waterfall challenge this month. So, we're gonna have to be like head on over to a little TGIF action there. So,
Yeah, I'll look them up.
yeah. So there we go. But yeah, I was out hiking and chasing a white-tailed deer. They just could not shake me. She's hopping around, and I'm just following the trail. And I think what kept throwing her off was I would stop and I was gathering cedar bark because now you got tons of cedar in your area, right, Bree?
Do you see Jan has a waterfall in her background at Bass Pro Shop? I just saw it. I think
Yeah.
we do. I don't know. What do? You collect it for fire starter?
Oh yeah, I pull off some of the bark when it's all kind of drying up. You just pull strips of it, and later you wad it up into a bird's nest. So I'm collecting that. I think I was pretty quiet, and then all of a sudden the deer's like, "Oh no, it's a human being!" It goes humping away. So they kept chasing him around there. All right, so Bass Pro Shop. That's not a bad place to be there. All right, so Bree and I are dominating here. Al, don't mean to keep you out of it.
No, you should.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna
okay.
hop down so you guys
Oh.
can chit chat.
No, yes,
And I-
sir.
You're more than
I
welcome
gotta-
to stay.
No.
I'm gonna hop down because I've got to get some supper made for my brother and I.
Okay. What are you
I'm gonna
making
do
tonight,
dishes.
That's
Rebecca?
what you know.
Do
so-
dishes. See you,
Bree,
Bree.
thank
My
you so
brother
much for
just
jumping
asked
up.
me
I'll
if I
see you
got
later.
his milk. I guess
No, are you
Bye.
going to use the milk?
No.
Oh.
All right.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
See you, Rebecca. See you later. All right. So we'll let Jen give us the tour of the Bass Pro Shop. So, word, Al, what you been up to today, man?
Oh well, funny story. I laid back for a few minutes and I was like, I'm just gonna lean back for a few minutes before
Oh,
Johnny goes live, and then I went out like a light.
oh, yeah. I laid down for a second, and then the cats were like, "Are we taking a nap?" And I
Yep.
get to smell myself. I'm like, "Nope, make coffee, gone up." Hey, Jamie, how are you? Let me see if I can say, Nick D. Oh, okay. Eagles Trekkers in the house, I guess, and we got some Schmileys, and I'm in chat listening. And Bree, I appreciate that very
That's
much.
pretty good.
Wow. Heavy atmospheric, unexpected, a lot of rain. Got it. All right, so Jen, what's going on there? You guys
Yeah.
buying stuff, or you guys just touring the building?
Oh yeah, we bought some stuff. You got to buy stuff when you come to Bass Pro. It's just loud in here, so.
Sure,
Yeah.
I get you. Let me stop. There we go. That's how I get rid of my thing. All right, so today was kind of a hike. I think I've got to start editing my water video there, Al.
Yep.
Got to get that one out next week. She seemed to get some positive responses. Was it Harshman Hills? He said he's already got like 3 ideas on what he wants to do.
Nice.
Mike Reed, he's the Bland County survivor man. I was like, dude, with all those streams you got out there, that would make for a nice entry. And he's already put up something earlier today, so that's a good thing. Hi, Jen. Oh no, she's playing around with the phone. We know what Tony's up to today.
No, I haven't heard from Tony. I don't know if he might be gone off camping.
Yeah,
Last I heard from him was he had a bit of time now because
we're gonna have to-
they pushed back when he could get his new RV.
right. Yeah, that's a tough
So
one. Yeah,
Get down.
yeah, because he was hauling
we're-
to get there.
We're
in
going to
time.
head out, guys.
he was.
Okay.
Okay.
Jen.
See
Thanks for
you,
jumping
Jen.
out there. See you later. All right. So we just kind of, and now it's down to us.
we're back to the 2 again.
There we go.
It's okay.
That was a nice surprise, though. I was like, I like Bree. It's like, so it was neat for her to jump up on panel there.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
But I tell you, it was good today. I've been intentionally wearing out my legs, just for conditioning for that nav class. And so I was like, go hit some hills when you're tired, not when you're fresh, and not fresh, just to kind of build up. So I went out there. I'm like, man, I'm not really looking forward to this. The first thing I did, I went up this tower. But once you get out there, you're like, yeah, I'm happy. This is my happy spot, And I would have stayed longer, except got to get back to the live. It started sprinkling and stuff, and I was like, well, you're prepared. You got your clothes, you got your poncho and everything, which got me thinking again. I'm like, all this stuff that we do, when you get used to dealing with weather, not a big deal. You don't
Yep.
have to have a sunny day all the time.
I like having a sunny day, though.
Of course.
My plan is to go out tomorrow now.
Oh, how's the weather? You're supposed to have good weather?
Not really.
Not really. Just got to go out anyway. Oh man, but no, I actually put off my normally it's a Thursday hike, but it was my daughter's birthday yesterday,
Oh,
and
nice.
so
Happy birthday.
yeah, so made the birthday cake, which is a chocolate cake with a bit of coffee in it for part of the liquid, because coffee and chocolate. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Hit the steakhouse. Steakhouse. Hey, Cage Free, how are you? Uh, so we hit the steakhouse last night. Ate way too much, and then wrapped it up with some birthday cake. And so I was like, all right, today you got to burn off all that and hit the hills. And so getting excited. It was kind of neat, just because I'm teaching a bow drill class next weekend. And so as I'm walking by it, I'm like, well, look at all that there cedar bark. I just kind of ripped all that off there. It was just, even when I was in Missouri, I was coming back and it looked like, well, I'm not sure it was cottonwood, but it had all the inner barking like it. And that tree had been there for so long, it was just asking me to be taken. I was just huge sheets of paper I was ripping up there. So I just put that in the haversack.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, now I've got my bird's nest materials for next week. So that's a good thing. And so I figure I'll make several bow drill kits and just let people practice at it. As opposed to making them start from carving from the beginning. I'm like, get them excited about they can make an ember and then they can go work on the whole whittling it all down. Because I went to one class and they did the reverse. They wore people out whittling it. By the time they got to turning and burning, they were worn out. They were too tired. I'm like, make them believe. Make them believe. And it's like, then they can go back and work on all the other stuff. So I don't know. What do you think about that kind of approach?
Mm, I don't know, because it can go two ways depending on the people, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Some people, a purist might want to say, no, I want to go from harvest. And matter of fact, some people have told me that the best thing you can do is collect and harvest the materials and make a kit each time. And I'm like, well, when you have time, but that might limit the amount of times you do it. Which kind of, I'm like, I don't think a lot of those people would be naturally be a great fit for like the Lions, because I'm like, well, we're opening things up here. You do what you
I
can.
mean, like, there's times I went down and actually took a little bag of wood for my twig stove.
Mm-hmm.
I knew things were wet, so I was like, I'm not even gonna worry about trying to gather stuff. I'm just gonna take this with me. So I mean, like,
Hope your stuff's safe, Jamie. So you decided to, knowing going into it, you brought in dry stuff so you have something to work with.
Yep.
And that's, some people might call that cheating, but I'm like, think about it. What about stashes? I mean,
yeah,
caches.
same thing.
People like, I tell you, the one that sticks with me is the saga of getting down to the South Pole. The first team that managed to do that, they realized they had to set up caches along the way. And they also thought of their dogs for the sled teams as food. So
Mhm.
they only had, you didn't have to come back with every dog. And so they had pre-positioned materials. And so, like I was watching the Virginia Bushcrafter, and he built a debris shelter out of an A-frame, and he already had a lot of wood built up. But he spent all day long getting more wood because, as you know, you can never have enough wood out there. But if he needed to, he was ready to go. And so I think that was smart of you to take stuff out there. Sorry, get long-winded. Just trying to say that was a good move, brother. What are you chewing on? You're not reacting, man. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading comments. But I'm a little confused here because I don't know if you're seeing all the comments on StreamYard side, but I'm not. Because I'm streaming out too, and I don't see any of the comments from my side showing up there now.
Really?
Yeah, because they should have. Let's see if I
I'm
do
seeing
this.
them. Yeah, I'm seeing
You're
Jamie,
seeing
Jamie's Country
JLM?
Living. I see Cage Free is on mine. Jamie is put on yours and posted several. Let's see. Let's go over here the count. Oh, nobody right now. Nobody's on yours, but on Good Times, we've got 3 on Good Times. Good Times is out there sharing it right now.
Okay, yeah, but like I don't see any of them on mine.
Well, that's peculiar. I don't know how all this works. So, are you supposed to be able to see everything on StreamYard? If
Yes, on the StreamYard side, when I click on the StreamYard comments, I should be able to see everybody's comments coming up, but the only ones I'm seeing is the ones that are on yours. The Virginia Bushcrafter, Jamie's Country Living,
hmm,
Camping Cage Free, Vanessa. In between Jamie's Country Living, I've had JLM is putting up comments. Heather is putting up comments. Sherman's Family Farm, it just came in. Hey, Sherman.
all on your channel?
All on my channel. Yep.
Well, that's weird. Huh.
So
And
there's a little glitch in it today, guys.
yeah, because right now it says Al is 0 for Al is watching, but it sounds like you got people out there.
I got
Virginia Bushcraft. We were just talking about you, how you had your A-frame and all your wood stash, a nice little cache build up there.
I got
Good
9
video.
people over watching.
Yeah, that's what I have now. It says 5 with me and 4 with Good Times. What's that?
Okay, well then you're missing the 9 from my side.
Oh, really?
Eagle
Wow.
Strecker. Yep. So there's 9 extra people that are watching that you're not aware of.
Wow. Huh. All right. So did you ban me
I
from
really
the
like your
channel?
camp. No, I didn't bang you. Thank you, Virginia Bushcrafter.
Let's see here. We got some laughing going on out there. Wow. Okay. So you've got some activity going on your side.
Yeah, that's why I was a little behind on what you were saying, but I am munching on chocolates.
Oh, gotcha.
That's another dry out, but
Oh man. Well, I'll be chewing on some chocolate here a little bit later. Here we got plenty of birthday cake, some whipped cream, and some strawberries on top. It's gonna be good.
oh,
chewing.
stop.
Oh man. Oh man, it's like you wonder why I have to go to the gym all the time. Otherwise, it would be Johnny be round.
Well, I've lost about another 10 pounds.
Good for you. Now, is
I'm
it
still
wait,
pretty round though.
right? Well, round is a shape, you know. So,
Mhm.
but I've also seen you out there. It doesn't seem to inhibit you from getting outside and being active.
No.
So,
I'm not.
I tell you, I would not mind dropping some weight because when I was down in Missouri last week, I would have liked to get more miles in. In the end, it was a good time, but I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind dropping 20 pounds or more and be out there more often. Which I came back, I lost weight. Then I'd put it right back on again. So maybe I just need a lot more trail time. I don't know. Hey, Ed's Crazy Adventures, how are you? And I appreciate you you showing up. Looks like you're over on, I guess Good Times Homestead right now, maybe.
Yeah,
Appreciate
because they're not on mine.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I'm not like if they're not on yours, I'm not seeing the little link for them to be over on Jane and Steve's.
That is wild. Huh.
Yeah. So
Well, I don't get it. Hey, just doing our best. Well, at least we're broadcasting and we're talking.
we are broadcasting. So that's something.
And we'll let you two figure out who's where and hours and whatever. Big thing is to get the stuff out. Hey, did you happen to see a premiere about an hour and a half ago of a different alliance? And guess what they were doing?
The same
and
thing.
cook. Catch and cook. So I was like,
And this is the alliance that doesn't do none of that stuff, right?
right, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. But I was like, what do they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yes, and what they're going to try to say is that was their idea first. And you know what? I don't care because lots of people do get you cooks.
Oh yeah, there are people
Right.
out there. I've seen videos and they do kind of what we're looking for. I'm like, oh, I love this. This is excellent. And I even shared a post saying this is kind of the spirit of what we're trying to do. So
Yep.
I'm like, I don't take ownership. I'm like, it's not like we're the first people to come up with this. Um,
So it's all other people's ideas.
right. No, but it's just a matter of how many good ideas and then how much fun can we have with it. So
Yep.
yeah, so I've been looking at my views. I did wonder. You're having good success with your views right now, right?
Decent. I'm doing decent with them, yeah.
Yeah, they seem to drop down right now, and I'm wondering if it's I did too many videos similar to one another, like too entertaining catching cooks. So could be timing. I don't know, but it
I think it's more time of the year because I'm not getting. I don't get super high views or nothing like that. Like if I get over 100 views in the first day, I'm happy.
right. Well,
Um,
I got 100 views. Period. I'm pretty happy.
so then, like the last video I put out, I think it's in the 130s.
Yeah.
The video before that was closer to the 2,
Right.
something like that. So it's like it's just. I think as the weather gets nicer, people are just out more doing stuff and watching less.
And that's not a bad thing because
No, it's not, right?
So yeah, I mean, and I figure I'm just going to keep doing this because I love it. It's fun. I mean, I think that's what I'm really tickled that you brought this up on that 24. Like Johnny, you want to do this alliance thing? Because ever since then, it gives me something to always plan for, and you know
Yep.
we've talked about this before. The planning is sometimes a lot more fun than the actual doing. Um, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of times where I have slides in. I made one. Um, I have to give myself enough time, get an idea, get stuck, and then forget about it, move on, and then later I'm like, you know what? Now I'm gonna have. Now I know how I'm gonna solve that problem. So the time I try to probably at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I actually start recording a video from the time I come up with the idea. How about you? You got any experience anything like that?
I am always planning.
Yeah. Yes,
I never stop
oh,
planning. I've got if I stopped planning right now, I probably have enough stuff written down to last me for the next 10 or 15 years. On plans that I've been making for stuff.
Mark, greetings from
Hey, Mark.
Nebraska.
Hey,
How are you, brother? Are you how are you surviving that haul storm? Are you
well, the
hauling
haul
things?
storm, I took the opportunity to use it to make my water video.
Nice.
There you go. That's
So
pretty
I'm
cool.
using rainwater, and I'm going to show you this product. Can you see it?
Water
Yep.
pot, water drop. What is that?
Okay, I got it in my Battle Box subscription, and it's a package of 2 bags with a permeable membrane.
Okay.
And it says you could take brackish water and make dirty water safe to drink. So you just place it in a standing water, a puddle,
Yeah.
and I guess it says 4 to 5 hours you'll have fresh water.
Wow.
You can carry that, I guess, in your pack, and it comes with a little straw. So when it's done, you just stick the straw through the bag and drink out of it.
Well, that's pretty cool.
That's neat. Now, does it say brackish water?
Yeah, it says for use in fresh or brackish water.
Yeah, because brackish water is a mix of salt and salt water, fresh water.
Well, this is a mix of hall water that we collect in a barrel. We have 3 barrels, and we use them for our garden and bird bath. So it's got a mixture of roof dirt and
Okay.
whatever sits in there.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Well, that should be cool. Hey, on those battle boxes, is that just a subscription you have and you get a random set of things every month, or do you?
Right. It's I have the advanced. There's 4 levels.
Yeah.
Um, so they come with they're usually new
Okay.
products
Okay.
that come out, and
I gotta let Doris in.
Okay.
they
So,
yeah. So you don't know what you're going to get every month
hmm,
until you get it. The advanced pro box is called a knife of the month box because you usually get a knife.
okay.
1 month they had a bow, actual recurve bow that you could.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost?
I pay $57 for the advance, and there's usually 4 or 5 items. I got
Hmm,
a folding stick stove in one, and
mhm.
that same month there was a ferro rod and a bunch of other things. And I find that most things I've been able to use. This last month, I got this and a 30-foot long string of solar lights, LED lights
Yeah.
that are on a thin string,
Yeah.
and you you can charge them up. It comes with a little solar panel, and
Mhm.
I got a solar power supply. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
I just tried it for I'm in a year and a half now, and I'm going to cancel it
Are you?
because yeah, I've gotten pretty much a lot of things out of it.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff I've given away on through giveaways, or I've given to other channels.
I was wondering if you ever just shipped a battle box to people. Like the care package that you sent me had a really nice variety, and I didn't know if that was a battle box package or that was just a. As my impression was, it was a collection of all the things that you've been gathering. You knew I was from Korea, so you got some the bibimbap and then the curry and
Yeah, that was all stuff I just kind of had in my preps, and I got probably at least 3 or 4 of everything: camping,
mm,
tents, sleeping bags,
yeah,
hammocks. I don't use
right.
that much, but cookware, things like that. And
Yeah, I was starting to think about. I'm like, as time goes by, as I start going through certain tools, I'm like, well, that was fun, but let's pass it on and let somebody else. Like there's a certain piece of equipment that I will never ever take out with myself. But yet, you know, I don't know which one it is. But yet, when I post videos on it, people watch it. There's a group that loves this thing, and I'm like. I don't get you guys, but I'm like, one of these days I'm going to bless somebody else with this. I'm like, I hope you have many good cups of coffee with this thing because that's about all you can do with it. But anyway, yeah, I could just see as time goes by, especially if I start forging this year, I'll be like, well, here's another striker who gets who's gonna get a striker. So,
He'll end
uh,
up like Orion.
pretty much, pretty much. Uh,
yeah,
uh,
he's quite the eccentric when it comes to flint and steel.
Oh my gosh, he loves that. I mean, I guess he's been doing flint and steel every day for over 2 years, probably 3 years by now. Um, I don't know.
What?
I think it's cool. And one of these days, I'll probably try to work with the right knife to be able to use that. Have you ever done that before, Mark? Knife and for flint and steel?
Yeah, I've done the Mora knife,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
that you can do it.
Yeah.
So I took a Mora. I think I got it for like $9, and so I ground the back 90 degree.
Uh huh.
I dipped the blade in vinegar to kind of age the blade
Okay.
a little bit because I just saw people on there saying it wasn't good for
Yeah.
the rod,
Yeah.
but I've done it with the chert that we have here.
Mm.
So
Now you're good your neck of the woods. You got good material. I understand down in Texas, like good chert and stuff.
yeah, we have the chert, and then we have the ash juniper. I think that's what you have. You call it cedar.
Yeah.
So you have the fibrous bark on it.
Right.
So that's really good stuff. We don't have in my area, we don't have pine trees.
Mm.
There are several regions in Texas that have piney woods.
Yeah.
So you got the pine cones and the pine needles,
Yeah.
which are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. You got mesquite in your area?
In Southwest Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to realize, Texas has, you have the plains up north, you got the desert in the west.
Yeah.
We're kind of in oak tree where I am, oak
Mm-hmm.
trees. We got cactus, but I live in a wine area.
Mm-hmm.
What's known for wineries and things.
Yeah.
So there's a mix.
Gotcha. I've always been a barbecue fan, so it's interesting, like what part of Texas where they have different types of hardwoods. Like some areas are big on pecan wood, and
Right.
yeah, Southwest is the mesquite and stuff. So
Yeah, Central Texas we have they'll use oak, pecan, and then Southwest or West Texas they'll use mesquite.
yeah,
So it's kind of regional.
right. So on the last challenge, that rattlesnake, did you happen to catch that recently, or
Yeah, yeah. I caught it the night before I posted the video.
yeah,
So I went out on the patio, and it was right by the front door. When I opened the screen, I saw it jut out, and I keep a snake stick by the front door
mm-hmm.
because we have a coral snake. I leave him alone. He lives under the front
Okay,
step, and because we have a lot of problem with mice, so I generally leave the snakes alone.
right,
But I had mentioned to you before, I wish I could catch a rattlesnake, and I haven't seen a rattlesnake for about 2 years.
and then
And there he was on the porch. So he thought, yeah, he went to the edge of the porch on the other side of this table, and he was uncoiled. I think he thought he got away.
Yeah.
And I came over the top of the table and grabbed him with a snake stick.
Good job, man.
Nice.
I mean, what a neat opportunity. Just the fact that lined up right when we're doing this little challenge, And of course, I'm like, Mark's not going to go halfway. I mean, the way you marinated that up and grilled it up, I was like, nice.
Yeah. Well, in Texas, they fry everything.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that marinade I used. I learned from a old Filipino guy.
Yeah.
He was a ship's cook in a merchant marine.
Mm.
And it's a real simple marinade. It's just a cup of soy sauce, a cup of Italian salad dressing. And he used to use 7-Up when it was cane sugar.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
But you can just replace that with about a half a cup to a cup of sugar.
Mm.
And it's great for chicken, beef, because the Italian salad dressing has pretty much everything in it.
Oh, yeah. You got the oils and stuff. And soy, the Asian cooking seems to go really well with game. I'm like, it's like a little bit of soy and honey or something like that. I'm like,
Right.
But yeah, I don't think of one time I had rattlesnake before. I didn't think chicken. And I don't know. I thought lizard because I mean it's just kind of you can taste the environment around it. It's like you can tell it's from a hot, dry area. It's like not corn-fed beef at all, or a grain-fed chicken. So I thought I was so tickled that you put that one up. I'm like, that's a real catch and cook. Which got me thinking, as goofy as I do on a lot of my videos, should I do more serious one? I'm like, next year, will I actually have to catch a fish or catch a squirrel, and then, put them on the squirrel cooker? I'm like, well, we got a year to think about that one.
Yeah. Well, like you said, and you and Al always say it's the spirit
Right.
Yeah.
of the thing. So,
yeah, a lot of people, they can't get out there. I was like, can you imagine DJ going out? He's not going to go out and do a catch and cook, but
yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
can't see the chat, but Shirley's in the room from Just Doing Our Best.
Yeah.
And she made, go watch her chicken wing video.
Uh-huh.
And she made a marinade. And one of the ingredients was A1 sauce, which I don't usually keep. So I picked some up.
Mm-hmm.
But look at her chicken wing video.
Okay. I saw it out there. I had it on the whole watch later list of mine.
Yeah.
So, but absolutely, I love some. Matter of fact, I got lucky. I got a manager special on some wings yesterday, so I might have to marinate those out. That'd be good, tasty stuff there.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, it's kind of neat. I like what we're doing on these challenges. I don't know if you caught it. There's another alliance suddenly is doing a catch and cook in April. I'm like, really? Where did you get that idea? Oh well, hey, I guess imitation or imitation is the greatest form of flattery. We're gonna take that one as it. So
Yeah.
so next month is water, and so you're already on top of it, huh?
Yeah,
So
I thought
very-
I'd take advantage of this. Well, I had that bag,
yeah.
purification bag, and then, well, I kind of popped in, watched you guys here for a little bit, and I'm going, heck, I just got some fresh rainwater out there that's not brackish, but it's not exactly clean because it runs off my roof and
Right. Yeah.
it sits in that barrel out there. So,
Well, I
yeah,
tell
thought
you,
another opportunity off my front porch.
absolutely. I tell you
Nice.
this. Tell you the government officials do not like people collecting their own rainwater, especially because it comes off the roof. They do not like that one bit.
Yeah.
But not going to stop me though. So future challenges we got, Mark. Show me your spot. As like Al, what do you think? Is it too soon to talk about? I was thinking June-ish on that one, right? And
Yeah,
then
we're thinking around June.
make some type of camp furnitures out there. You think you might? Any thoughts on any of those types of challenges there, Mark?
No, I mean, that sounds good. You guys have been doing pretty good. The only
The,
one I think I thought of or I mentioned was, first aid, which
yes,
is necessary for first.
I've done that already.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
You did.
But you don't have to actually hurt yourself.
Well, you got to be authentic.
Well, I think Halloween time would be a great one for first aid. When everybody can get out the little the imitation blood and the scars and stuff like that, and let the kiddos wrap up mom and dad, like pretend you've got a stick in the eye. You've got the old cup and bandages to hold it in place and stuff like that. I can see some mummies walking around out of the bush after that one.
I'll get one of those axes that goes on over your head.
Oh yeah.
Well, I thought about Al today because Dave Collier did a video on a bandage.
I'm trying to remember that one.
Oh,
Was
I
it
think it was-
recent today?
Yeah, silicone bandage. So he taped it on his leg, to kind of show
Mm.
how it
how
worked.
it works. Nice.
I was gonna rip off and pull all the hairs off.
Probably.
Well, I was gonna criticize him, that he didn't shave his leg
Right.
because that's what they would do at the hospital. But
Oh,
he
yeah.
he had a video clip, and it said remove hair for easier removal.
Uh-huh.
But that's I think that's one thing in first aid kits. That's one thing I carry. I
It's a
do
razor.
carry a razor
Mm.
to shave around a wound because if you had someone that bumped their head
Yeah.
or something,
It's
and you
gonna
needed
it's gonna be
to,
hard to get a bandage to stick
Super-
on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
or you,
Right.
even if you wanted to super glue it.
Right.
know.
Mm.
So
Even if you got like butterflies or whatever like that, just to kind of bring it together. Yeah. So,
and that's
Huh.
part. That's part of sanitizing, dressing the wound.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I've got all this real estate, and we're talking about head trauma, so I wonder if maybe we can use this for some type of first aid treatment up there.
Johnny, don't go beating your head on this one.
I told
Oh,
you probably look pretty badass with if you just went full shaved. You'd have that Breaking Bad kind of look.
Maybe might be worth looking into. But I'm thinking I should keep the beard though.
Yeah,
Beard, bald.
trim it. Yeah, trim it down
Okay.
like that Breaking Bad guy. Yeah, you look pretty badass. I think you got a good shaped head.
Well, I've walked into
Fairly
a few
uniform.
things and kind of reshaped it, reformed it a few things.
Yeah.
But that's not maybe I could do a Gallagher type deal. I'll have a hat with hair, you know, attached to it. When you take the hat off, then you see what's really underneath. uh, I might have to think about it because of my options of hair, it is pretty limited. So that might be a one way to explore things. I'll just have to shine it up pretty good, I think. Although that'd be might blind the camera though. This
Go to
navigation
the
thing.
bowling alley and do a homer.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see here. So here's the finger holes right there. It's like the skull socket. Al, what I'm thinking about, I'm like, do we want to rethink the navigation mapping one? Would that be too challenging? I mean, I've got ideas on how to do it, but I don't know. What do you think, Mark? I want to do something navigating. I think it's important people know how to use your compasses or tools or whatever.
Yeah, I think I made a comment on one of your older videos when I used to. I was an instructor in Boy Scouts, so I would teach orienteering.
Yes.
One of the exercises was have them take a compass and then take a 120-degree bearing.
Yeah.
Walk 20 paces.
Yeah.
Take another 120, 20 paces, and another 120, and you should end up. That's 360. You should end up back at the same spot, and that would be easy for somebody to do, but because number one, you need to know where you are to navigate,
right?
And if you're going to use the map, but you have to orient your map to magnetic north, true north,
right?
So that could be hard for some people. They may find that hard to understand.
Yeah, because I'll be working on that here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At that nav class, and so I'm like, if I think real world, if people are truly lost, that way very few people actually have a good map that they can work with. Anyway, it's not like you're in the military, you're issued it. This is the area you're in. So I'm like, if you got general areas like identifying large objects, if your compass is off by a couple of degrees, you can at least know that it might be oriented off, but at least it's consistent. You're going to be working with that tool. All right, I took a heading of 11 degrees, let's say, even though truly you might have gone 13 degrees. But when you turn right to go to 27 degrees or whatever it is, it's still going to be the same increments. I think you can kind of work off that, especially if you're like lost in the trail. I figure, got to go off the trail, got to go to the bathroom, take a heading in 90, X number of paces. You come back heading at 270, the opposite way. And then there's the idea of bandanas or whatever, exploring, going further and further out. But anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. I got too many thoughts in my head.
Well, maybe when you're fresh from that course, you should maybe just do a video, just how to read a topographic map.
We've thought about that too, but not everybody would have access to topographical maps, and not everybody that goes out would even carry a topographical map. Now, I know most of the maps on your phone are, but you're not always in areas where you can load them.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to load them. You can upload them to your device.
Yeah.
But
so then if something happens to your device, if something happens to your device, if you fall in the lake or something like that, and your device gets wet, then you're done, right?
Yeah.
But
then
a compass
resource,
right?
But whenever I went backpacking, I always got a topographic map of that area from USGS, and now you can just order them online.
I wonder if maybe that's something we should explore, just showing people how to get their hands on maps. It's like, let alone, it's like, see, honestly, until you said that, I was like, well, where am I going to get a map in the first place to use? So I'm going to look at alternative ways, so that might be something.
REI they usually have the maps in the regions that their stores are.
Yeah.
So if you're in, Oregon or whatever, Portland, it's going to have a lot of the maps that are in that state.
Right.
But like you said, you could order them online. When I first moved here to Texas, I bought offline. I got a satellite image of my property, a 5-mile radius map, and then I got the topos just so I could learn the area, because the topos will have where the springs are.
Right.
And then I always recommended to people buy the out of date maps.
Yeah.
They'll have historical stuff on there, like springs and mines that may not be on there, may not be there anymore. Especially if you're like into metal detecting or things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Those would be good resources.
No, that's a neat idea. Yeah, I looked at for a while. I was like buying a top, of my property, or like where I'm going out to Canterbury's place. I'm like, if I know exactly where it is, can I order it so I get familiar with it ahead of time or not? But yeah, that's a good idea. The idea I like, which is I've seen a couple of them. One is kind of bandanas, the Paul method, and other stuff. But there's a guy, Dave Pearson. He goes by really big monkey one. That's what it is. And he said, all right, you can start with the base point and work your way out from there. Take, let's say true north, march 100 paces out, come back, go 90 degrees, 100 paces out, back, south, west, each one. It's like, if that didn't work, now I try 200 until, but keep coming back so you don't get yourself all lost. But keep further and further out until eventually you find that road or that stream or whatever it is to get yourself unlost. So I was like, that's kind of a neat idea. I'm just not sure if I have the resources to make that type of video. So
What's the bandana method? I'm not familiar with that.
Well, it's just like, kind of like hunting. Okay, so you carry at least 2 bandanas, right? And so you hang one up on a tree, someplace high enough. You go out far enough where you can still see that bandana, and you got a heading until you get to another known location. Like, here's my point. So you hang bandana number 2 there, and of course now you want to go back and fetch your other bandana, and so that way you know how to get back from where you started from. And I think they use that with they call it Paul. Whereas you set all your nav points, and then when you sit down putting sticks on the ground and using like some cordage, you can kind of see exactly where you've gone, and then find out what heading to get back to your original place. Basically make a map of the area type deal. But basically, it's always leave some landmark to see, so you can get back to where you started from. Never get out. Yeah.
Boy Scouts, we just learned the rock. You make leave signals with a rock. There's stack them a certain way that you went to mark to go right or left. Or
your stack is 3 high, and one on this side means turns right, one on that side means turns left.
So you just for that you could just stack rocks in a unnatural, usually 2 rocks are going to be right on top of each other. So.
Exactly. I was just talking to my daughters about that. They were like, because we've gone to different places. We went to Vermont, that's right, up the northern part of the Appalachian Trail. And when we saw the little rock towers everywhere, and I was like, yeah, that's a sign that this is where hikers, they're telling you, yeah, you're on the path and which way to go and stuff. But you know what? That's got me. You got me thinking. I'm like, that's another good way to go. As far as I'd love to go out on a trail where I actually see those and they're stacked up correctly, which tell you which way to go. Because I think most of the time these through hikers, they're just stacking them up.
Yeah.
I found that down behind my place. People are going down. They're making the stack of rocks, but they don't know why they're making the stack of rocks.
You're right.
Right. So it's just a randomly stacked up stack of rocks.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of saying this way or that way or
Right.
Yeah, I hate them friggin' rock stackers.
Well, my daughter.
But I mean,
I've lost track of the chat here. You guys go ahead. Sorry, but yeah,
One of the big things I think with that is with they're just randomly stacking the rocks is it's probably more of this is where you should be to be on a trail.
right.
Whether you're going left, right, or whatever, that stack of rocks is like there, and the trail is right here next to it. You know, I don't think they're actually trying to stack them just for directional purpose. It's more for just I walked off the trail. Where's the two? Oh, there's a stack of rocks. It must be over there.
Right.
Type thing.
Well, my daughters certainly did disrupt them because they were like having fun just stacking them higher and higher. So if there was any purpose to some of those, they ruined it other than make them pretty and taller.
There is another way to stack rocks that it makes it very easy to distinguish which way to go. Stack them in an actual arrow.
Yes,
That way.
Yeah. You know, and that's kind of got me sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, when we do the intro, when we talk about it, just like, hey, maybe it's just signaling. You know, it's like, do you build, a tripod and have a piece of cloth, bright cloth up there hanging there? People are like, okay, that's not natural. Lining up three things in a row. That's not there. Obviously, some human being has been here, dragging your feet, whatever you can do to kind of tell people this. And the arrow, obviously, loud and clear, I went this way, so when the cavalry does come in, they know where to come find you. I'd love to do a video with a friend saying, all right, can you find me? I'm lost, and have me sitting by, or them camping out, and waiting for old Johnny to see if he can show up to the party eventually.
I'd agree with that, but I don't know, because then you run the risk of your friend actually getting lost looking for you.
well, I know. Well, what we did was we had an
Johnny be sat down, it'd be getting dark, and I'd be like, my friend never showed up.
Yeah, that would be bad. Well, what we did in survival, SEER training, we'd have a refresher. I was out in Tucson, and so they set up little camps out there, and we had to go navigate to those points. Man, that would be kind of fun if we could ever get a few of us to collaborate in the same area, and try to get to that base camp, and party it up, later. That could be a fun little collab. Oh no, I'm sorry, my mind's wandering again. Too many squirrels, guys.
Yeah, we did.
No, that's okay.
We had an exercise at SWAT competition one year at Fort Ord in Monterey, California.
Yeah, I've been out there.
So the first part of the exercise, before we had a problem, was we had to go cross country 2 miles, and under I think we had a 40-minute time frame, and it was real heavy manzanita brush and stuff, but they had spotters, so we had to evade spotters on the road.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was a rough 2 miles because it's not a straight line, and a heavy brush. And
yep. That was the thing. Yeah, we had spotters out there. As long as you pretended to be hiding, they'd leave you alone. But if you're like act stupid, like I had one time, the guy, he pointed his rifle at me. I got back down. He goes, "Okay, I'll leave you alone now." And I was like, "Okay, play the game, John. Play the game the whole time."
Did I understand you correctly that your wife was an instructor at SEER?
No.
Okay.
No, she went through SEER. And once I told her, I said, tap into your emotions. I was like, you can cry. Let them have it. And once she learned to use that, they couldn't get anything out of her. I was like, just think how miserable you are right now. But yeah, she slept under a tree, and a grouse came crawling inside of her sleeping bag, So instead of thumping
Dinner.
Yeah.
Delivery.
Oh, yeah. No, she didn't. at that time she was just kind of freaked out. Later found out it was a grouse. But yeah, that would have been a tasty treat right there.
Mhm.
Oh man.
One of my favorite Gomer Pyle episodes was they had to do survival training, so they dropped them all off, and
I
at,
know it.
and at the end they came back and everybody lost like 10, 20 pounds, but Gomer gained 5 pounds.
Yeah.
You know,
It was-
out hunting and
Oh, yeah.
fishing. So they had Sergeant Carter follow him. They sent him out again, and he's just catching fish and rabbits. And
Oh yeah, I remember Sergeant Carter's digging a hole and he's squeezing water out of mud. And he's like, "Oh no, there's a big old lake right over here." You know? Oh yeah, I remember that episode. He's like, "Yeah, everybody down there can catch stuff." Tell you who I've been enjoying watching lately is Mike Reed, Blaine County Survivor Man. He's been putting out all kinds of traps on how to catch critters and stuff, so it definitely has me thinking next year doing something a bit more real if I can.
Mhm.
I might have to record it 1 month and time it another
Yeah.
because we don't always have trained rattlesnakes coming out of our porch,
Yeah.
during the catch and cook month.
Well, I do have traps. I have just the typical claw traps.
Yeah.
And a cage trap, but I have snares, but they're cables. I just buy them at the feed store.
Yeah.
But trapping's usually not. It's kind of cruel sometimes.
It
That
can
is-
be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Last year we had a squirrel that was taking out some baby birds. And my wife actually gave me permission to take out the squirrel, but I didn't know if I'd have it all processed and eaten by the time they came home. So I shoot it off. But I'm like, do I really need to take out this critter when I got a freezer full of beef and pork? I'm like, But I might have to pull out the mean side of me on that one. But yeah, because like the traps, they choke some to death. Jerbs, you like that one, huh? Yeah, did you guys see the yes, that's what I was planning to do, Joe. But in the end I decided, I don't know. I didn't want the ramifications of the women I live with, that's for sure. I don't know if you guys have to do. Mark, your wife probably doesn't give you a hard time about taking out any game, do you? Does she?
Yeah, she doesn't like it, but we have like squirrels. My neighbor had $3,200 of damage done to his truck.
Oh my gosh.
And then we get mice. Mice are our big problem. That's why I leave the snakes alone.
Yeah.
We have cottontails, so I don't shoot them, but
Sure.
possums I try to leave alone.
Yeah.
But raccoons definitely.
Yeah, those are destructive boogers.
Yeah. Here in this county, you can't release them because they're a rabies vector.
Oh,
So if you trap them, you're expected to get rid of them.
Okay.
But when they find a honey hole, they're going to be coming back, and they cause a lot of damage here. So
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
Do you do anything with the furs on them?
no, they're just kind of dirty to me. They carry a lot of disease, and it's just not. That's a skill in itself, skinning.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Now rattlesnake skin is easy. If I skin it, I just keep the rattles unless it's something big. But I just if I can't deal with it, then I'll just take salt and I rub it on the inside of the snake skin and I roll it up, and then I could throw that in a freezer and deal with it later. But the salt will help dry it up and you can kind of clean it up. But yeah, processing skins is I've done it, but it's a lot of work and I just don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
So I just feed the vultures. I have an area I call the Valley of Death.
Yeah.
So I drag out there.
I've got a tree out there where all the vultures hang out. So it's like for a while, yeah, we were tossing all the mice that we were catching, but out in their area. But now that we've got chickens again, I just throw the mice to the chickens. Boy, do they love that, man! They chase each other.
Oh.
It's like, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. And I feel sorry for the mouse that goes in the area while it's alive because they don't last very long, man. That's a tough way to go out, being pecked to death by chickens, man. So uh, that's about all we do here. Eventually, I think I do want to. I don't know. I guess it's like anything else, flint and steel or anything. I'm like, you know what? It there is something to be said to going out, catching something, and making food out of it. And I don't know, I'm always mindful of the parasites. You were talking about that, so I'm kind of I'm like, how do you make sure you properly cook it and stuff? I guess till it's very well done, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it's always better to overcook it. You know,
So,
Yeah.
boiling usually works for most.
right. There was a one guy one season on Alone. Um, he thought he cooked the meat well enough. Next thing you know, within 12 hours, he was sick and he was pulling the plug there. So I was like, he seemed to know what he was doing, but still not good enough. So I'm like, well, don't just run into it blindly, Johnny. Um,
Well, I think
although
you let the stomach contents touch the meat or something, if that's the one I'm thinking of,
could have been,
because that's where all the bacteria is.
Oh,
So you want to be very careful.
oh,
You know, with especially with
Yeah.
the esophagus, things like that. You get that on the meat.
yeah,
Um,
tainted. Yeah,
it gets tainted.
yeah,
Well, this is why I noticed, one of the things up here is when we're cleaning the animal, we don't never, we'll cut open the rib cage and that before anything else because then you can got more access to get up and make sure you can clean cut so everything falls out
Mhm.
right.
Well, if you
without
watch the
cutting
video,
anything apart.
I shot a deer in January, so I processed it without gutting it. So
Yeah.
I skinned it and then I cut the carcass in half and I put a garbage can underneath, and I take the heart out, but I don't have to take a chance of cutting into the bladder and things like that. So
Yeah.
And it's quicker too.
So, well, that's the voice of experience right there. That sounds like you've learned how to move it quickly and cleanly. So, which is key. I mean,
Poaching with Mark.
coaching.
Yeah, a lot of times when people have gamey meat, sometimes it's how they take care of it.
Yeah.
Now I don't recommend it, but I head shoot my deer,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Maybe,
'cause that
maybe.
way they don't build up any lactic acid, you
Right.
know, adrenaline, stuff like that, which can lead to gamey meat.
Yeah,
Well, it's
it makes the
helpful.
meat taste different for sure.
Well, it's definitely helpful that you're a good shot, Mark.
Well, that's why I recommend. I don't
When-
recommend it to everyone to try it.
Right.
See, I think the thing is when Mark goes out, he cheats. He relying on all these skills that he picked up along the way, being a sniper and everything, and it's just headshot.
Well, there is no cheating when you're getting food. That's the way-
Ow, ow! Don't do that. That's my cut. She stretched and reached out with her claws and went right down where I stuck the axe in my leg.
That's right. Yep, right. There's Al's. He's just keeping that one fresh, so you can go back and do your first aid video there, Al. Just keep. letting
No,
everyone-
that one, I put that one out as a members only video. That never got released.
I do think we should do. I mean, I like the idea of a first aid one, especially
Yeah.
as far as what do you carry. I see people. I mean, obviously everybody's going to do what they think they need to do. Somebody that's running a camp, and especially if you got people with axes and machetes and stuff, you might want to have some pretty good first aid supplies on hand.
Mhm.
But if you're just hiking out on a trail, doing a bit of camping, I'm like, do you really need what do you call it, Israel bandage and all these other it's like, do you have to have a super big kit, or can you get by with just some band-aids, gorilla tape, some iodine or whatever, and just a real small kit? I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to see everybody's thoughts, and then because I'm like always big, great. Now carry whatever it is you just came up with.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I'm like that backpack space is really limited. And so I'm like, so you sure you want to carry all that? Because you lose
Well,
it.
this is where in comes multiple different uh, med kits,
Yes.
because I got my bigger one that I'm doing up over there now. That's like
Yeah.
that's gonna be, if I was going for a long term, I'd take
Yeah.
it because it has everything.
Right.
Um, just for regular day trips out, I usually just take the little one. I got some stitching in there. I've got some bandaging, some band-aids, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, what is on my list of things to
Okay.
get though is a suture kit.
Yeah. You think you'd do some suturing though? I mean,
I would have on this if I had
oh
had
sure.
it here.
Right. But you could be. I mean, you could set up a sterile environment in your house to do that. But
I can set up a sterile environment out in the woods and do it.
you could. I believe you. You could.
It's
I'm
it's
messy. I don't know if I could.
it's easy enough to set up a sterile environment as long as you're out of the wind. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And you're not in the rain. You can set up a pretty basic sterile environment, because you only got to have, like, if I got a big cut on my hand, I only need sterile environment from here down.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a sterile room, like a hospital room or something, you know?
One thing about that I see people do wrong is when they have a cut and they're wiping it.
Yeah, you don't wipe the cut.
Well, you wipe away from the cut,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you don't go back over it. You wipe away, and then you toss that dressing.
Right.
Yep.
Because you don't want to rub back, whatever dirt that you wiped away over it. So,
Right.
You're just putting it back in.
right. But sometimes it's necessary.
Don't do this.
Yeah. Sometimes it's necessary
Bro.
though, to area to get the
Bro.
band on, depending what you have.
Right.
I was with my leg. The reason I said I would have had no trouble stitching this up, no matter where I was because it didn't bleed a lot.
Right.
It hit the bone because the skin is so thin there, but I never hit a big vein or anything like that. So when it cut, I could see right into it, and I was like, "Ugh," but it didn't bleed. I was expecting it. By the time I got into the house, there's going to be half a shoe full of blood, because I know it's very easy to strike
Right.
veins and arteries and stuff that are thinner in the skin. But when I got in and I took my sock down and looked, and I was like, hey, it's hardly even bleeding. So I just stuck a couple of pads on there and went about getting what I needed to get and went out and fixed it up.
Duct tape would
Yeah.
work to close the incision
Right.
in a pinch,
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm like, and James, by the way, Harshman Hills, I'm kind of more like your line of thinking there. But when I was I was listening to Graybearded Green Beret. He was at that basic survival class, and he was got a lot of medic background, and he was talking about, can you have a sterile environment or not? But the big thing is just closing the wound. He showed techniques on how he's using duct tape and other things, and kind of like football lacing. By using the duct tape and some branches, you can kind of bring it together, kind of like a butterfly bandage type effect. So it got me really thinking about it. I don't see myself Ramboing it, cutting and sewing it all back together.
But it depends on the cut too. I mean,
Sure.
like
Right.
that's where, I mean, like, if you got a cut that's gushing,
Yeah.
you're not going to get that closed very easy, and chances are you need some help, because
Right.
if it's gushing out blood like that, chances are there's something you nicked or cut that is important,
Right.
right?
There's-
So
James,
yeah, so like the combat gauzes and stuff like that. That's one of the thing I have in my kits, and I got one that it actually comes out in a string, like it unrolls like a bandage. So if I get a regular cut, I can actually shape it to the cut that goes on
Right.
where I need it to go. But you want to be like, you gotta have some knowledge on anatomy before, like, you can't just go buy a suture kit. I'm gonna sew myself up.
Right.
You gotta have some knowledge on anatomy before you even attempt to do some of that stuff.
Well, I saw what James, the comment James had, and
Yeah.
one thing I learned was as long as it's bleeding, nothing's going in.
Yeah.
You know, so as long as
Yeah.
blood's coming out, things aren't going into the wound itself.
Yeah.
I think, and those, unless you're trained like EMT or something like that, I think you got to go to the first things we were taught: flush it out, take your water, flush it out, apply pressure, elevate if you have to. Heaven forbid you do it down like a major artery, but lots of pressure, and then grab that Gorilla Tape. You got me thinking more about I should bring more gauze and just pack it in there. Just keep packing it on there. It's like once you get back to safety, then you can remove it because once it's clotted up, it's going to rip it all open anyway.
Yeah.
You got me thinking though. To keep it fun with the kids thing, people have been bashing on the Altoids containers lately on some other channels. They got me thinking those Altoids containers are great little kits. Maybe not a survival kit, but challenge them that or the soap dish to put together a first aid kit, and then another one for your fire kit, another one for nav kit or whatever, notepad and pen, something like that.
Well, maybe one that wouldn't be expensive and everybody can do it is
A little
everybody's got a
survival
dollar
kit.
store or Dollar General.
Yeah,
Is maybe have somebody make their own survival kit and see what people come up with.
that is something we're toying with later this fall. Now, we're thinking about heading in the Dollar General or something like that, where we put a dollar limit. And so you can buy whatever you want, within that budget. So you're not restricted to 5 items. And then go out there and spend the night with that one.
So
now-
if we set a $20 limit, does that mean I get 25 because it's conversion?
Well,
What
if
is
it's
that?
$20 US, yeah, you automatically get, or no.
Yep.
Well, I guess whatever matches your prices, brother. It's like I don't know what your prices
No.
are up there either.
No, but I mean, well, that's the thing, right? $20 challenge. If we do whatever dollar amount we set, that's it across the board. Doesn't matter where you're to.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh, you're right. I know that's a good little brain. That's fun. That's what keeping it lively,
Yeah.
brother. But no, yeah, that you got me sitting there thinking. But Mark, you also got another way, which is instead of the dollar challenge, just say, what is your version of the 5 C's or 10, whatever it is, your kit to go out there, no matter what you're carrying. And now some people are going to do the wool blanket and the oilskin tarp. I'm like, yeah, right. Good luck carrying that.
it's heavy.
Right. But I'm like, okay. And you're really going to do that on a day hike? Because I know personally, it's like if I'm going out for a day hike, I'm carrying very little. I going out on the Ozark trails. Well, heck, I'm already bringing a tarp and I'm bringing a hammock and I'm bringing sleeping bag. And I'm like, I'm bringing more because I'm already planning to stay out there longer. So I'm like, what else do I need to bring to supplement that,
My last day hike, I actually weighed my pack and it was 40 pounds.
Wow. That's a fair amount of weight, brother. I was wondering, I'm like, because I've been loading mine up and it's got me thinking, I'm like, man, I really need to get some lighter equipment. But it costs so much darn money.
It does, yeah.
So even if I can afford it, I feel like it goes against what my channel's about, which is removing obstacles. You don't have to buy expensive gear to get outdoors.
None of my stuff is expensive. What's my most expensive piece of gear? That could be one good one too. What's your most expensive piece of gear? What'd you spend the most money on?
You know what? That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah, it's like I was like, what is it? When is it? Is it worth the price to you? I was watching. Here we go. That's a good one there, VB. Nicole hikes a lot. She does trekking poles. Now they sell lights inside those trekking poles. And so just stab it in the ground. All of a sudden, you got camp lights around there. She didn't have to use her headlight the whole time and stuff like that. I was like, I like that, a multi-purpose item there, other than
Yeah.
just white hiking. But that's not a bad idea. It's like, what in your mind is worth the extra dollars on a certain piece of equipment? That's pretty cool. I like that.
Well, I think a lot depends where you go to. Like I used to go hunting up in Alaska. Well, you don't want to go up there with a Kmart tent
No, no,
or
you want a good tent and stuff
pair
like
of
that.
boots because it's such a different place to be, and you're not near a resource when you get dropped off by a plane.
Right.
Because you were going to be on your own until that plane comes back or until you can get out. So,
Right.
Depending on where you're going to. So,
Right.
a lot of what I do now is I'm not into backpacking anymore. So I'm more into the motorcycle camping. And with my sidecar, I could go places though a Jeep sometimes can't get.
Yeah.
So I still have that remote access, but now I can carry a cot.
Right.
You
I
can
can-
take those extra comforts with you.
Right. So I can carry a small ice chest and a tent I could stand up in. So
Right.
being 65, because if you're not comfortable, then you're not going to want to go
Right.
too.
Totally.
So there's that trade-off too when you get older.
No, I feel you.
I see. I'm in my 40s. I'm like 46 this year, but when I did that 5-item challenge, it's wasn't that I was truly comfortable because I wasn't.
Yeah.
And then we did the sleep system one where I slept out in the cold and
Yeah. Mm.
I was warm but comfortable. But would I do it again? Hell yeah, I
Yeah.
would. Right, I'd definitely do it again. I thought that was a good part of the fun of it. I still do. I always did. Rough it, just go out and rough it.
So VB, Virginia Bushcraft, how far do you usually hike? He says he carries about a 45 to 50 pound rucksack, lots of water, hatchet, large knife, saw, and stuff.
Yep.
Which is very bushcrafty.
That's
Yeah.
what I do when I go out. I has my canteens all full of water, and I'll have a couple extra bottles of water or drink or something thrown in the backpack, and
And how far are you
very quickly
comfortable?
gets.
How many miles would you say you're comfortable going in a day when you carry that kind of load?
It depends because the area I'm in. If I go probably 20 miles, I'm in another community. So
Right.
so it was like, what am I carrying all this stuff for? I'm carrying all this stuff so I can go out probably 10 miles and get in an area and just make it comfortable.
Right.
Right.
And see, I think that's a discussion people should have. It was like, because a lot of times, let's say you're talking to your through hikers, ultralight, and they're just getting miles in. So that's
Yep.
your purpose, get miles in. Okay. For me, I'm the lazy camper. I want to get to that water source, and then I want to hang out for a while. So I'm going to carry a heavier load because I'm going to cook better food, and then I'm going to, I like my electronics, so I'm going to carry some extra batteries to recharge them, their electronics. But at the same point, I don't want to have to carry all my water. So hopefully I find a water hole to replenish, filter and stuff like that. So it depends on what you're doing, dry camping or not, and how far you want to go. Like the one dude, I told you we went out for a hike last Octoberish, November, something like that. And he's like, "What are we doing?" I said, "Day hike." He goes, "What? I mean, food." I'm like, "Dude, you can bring granola." It's like I'm cooking lunch. I'm making my YouTube video. You're certainly welcome to do it. And he came out with the oilskin tarp. He came out with a wool blanket. He came out with a hatchet. And every 5 minutes, can we stop and get water? Sure. And we shaved off about 3 miles off that hike of what I really wanted to do that day because I was like, okay, he's a different mindset. So
He was probably thinking more along the bushcrafty side of it.
Yes.
we're gonna get somewhere, and I can set up my chair up, and I got a nice, comfortable place to sit down and lay down and relax for a while.
Yeah.
It's you know, this is wherein I say prepare for who you're going with,
I'm using
because
the. Go ahead.
if you came to go with me, Johnny, you might want to take a bit extra stuff.
Right.
But if I come down to go with you, I'm gonna take a bit less stuff.
That's
You're-
right. See, that's you
Right.
just got know your objective. Camping cage free. I use the Sawyer squeeze. By the way, what were you gonna say, Mark?
What a lot depends on what your terrain is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I used to
Yeah.
do a lot in the Sierra Nevadas where you're 9,000 feet above.
Yeah.
And if I just showed up and took off, I'd get an altitude headache.
Right.
So I would typically go the night before, sleep in the car, and then get a little bit acclimated before I go. But I used to figure an average where you're having steep elevations with a pack. A normal human walks about 3 miles an hour on flat ground. Well, I found that I averaged about a mile an hour when I'm going up hills and elevated
Yes.
trails and that. So that's what I would usually plan,
Yeah.
1 mile an hour, especially with a 40 pound pack or plus.
I was not moving. I was shocked to find out I was moving less than 2 miles an hour in Missouri. I thought for sure I'd do 2.5. No. And so the next day when I was boogieing out of there, I was like, I think I can do it in 2, but it's probably going to be a bit more than that. It was like 2 hours, 15 minutes to get out of there. But that's terrain. I'm older than I used to be, and I think I was carrying a bit heavier pack. But I mean, do what you got to do. Just
Well,
I think it's part of it, learning yourself. You know?
that's a good point too, because I might take a 40 or anywhere between 30 to 50, 60 pounds on my back and start going. But when I'm going up these first set of hills,
Yeah.
I'm not going like full tilt walk. Oh, no. I'm taking my time. I'm taking breaks. Sometimes the last time I went up the hill, I took, I think, 4 little breaks. Just
Okay.
sit down for a minute, catch my breath, relax, get up, go, do the same thing in another little spot. Because if you're trying to do it in one full,
First.
just
Yeah.
burst, start from the bottom to the top. By the time I get to the top of these mountains here that are around me, I'm just drenched in sweat.
Right.
Then I'm up in the cold wind. Then I don't want to do anything else because I'm beat out from climbing the hill. So you kind of got to really know how to pace yourself out so that you're not going to get in a situation where, I'm not even where I wants to go, and I'm just turned around going home again.
See, and that's kind of where I was trying to keep in mind last week. I mean, because I started out ambitiously. Oh, I want to get to this point. And I was hitting the hills, and I could just start feeling my body a little bit. And I'm learning a little bit more because typically I'm like at the gym, I'm gonna hit it hard. I'm like, it is all one hard surge between cardio and weights and stretching. And I know during that time I don't really have to drink much water. I'm good. The trouble I've gotten out into on the trail a few times, I'll go until I hit that wall, and then I gotta stay put for a while. So this last time I'm like, stop more frequently, rest up, stay mentally strong, and then I'm finding out when I'm getting into unknown territory, I'm like, and I'm having a hard time distinguishing these trails. That's mentally draining.
Yep.
So I'm like, sit, stay cool, figure it out. And I was like, so you're not going to go nearly as far as you really originally thought. So I kind of learned that about myself or a bit more about myself. I still got more learning to do.
Well, you get too fatigued too. That's the time you could slip because you're not exactly walking on pristine ground,
Yeah.
fatigued, and a lot of people get hurt going downhill, because they slip, they don't choose their footing, get their footing placed correctly before they put all their weight on it. So,
oh man, yeah, there's plenty of rocky areas that I was That's why I was wearing my boots that cover my ankles. I'm like, try not to twist. I wanted those poles just for stamina and also stability because I did not want to twist my ankle out there or worse. Cage free, you know what? I'm wondering about that. I'm like, I see guys going 10, 15, 20 miles, but I'm like, but I think they're carrying 25 pound packs. Yeah, 40 for a guy that weighs close to 220. that's a that's a lot of weight to be moving up and down the mountains.
Well, I told Virginia Bushcrafter, I think it was on one of his last videos, if he read a book called Lightweight Backpacker.
Yeah.
And that guy, I mean, he would get anal. He would tear the tags off his sleeping bag, his clothes, and so
Cut
he
the
carries
tooth back.
usually about a 19-pound pack.
Yeah.
But once you start getting over 25, then you're no
Yeah.
longer lightweight.
Yeah. I've seen that they'll trim the toothbrush
Hmm.
just to try to get an ounce off here and there.
Yeah, that's I'm not. No, I don't. I don't do that. If I'm gonna carry it out there, it's gonna be carried out there, and
Right. See, there are
Yeah.
certain things I can do big savings on, like when I on the firebox stove. When I went from the stainless steel to the titanium, that saved a pound right there. You know, water. If I know where sources of water, I don't have to carry all that extra stuff. Even space, though, I'm like, took out a down sleeping bag. That thing was way too big. I'm like, okay, I might have to spend more on a better sleeping bag or quilt where I've got more room in the backpack and I'm not wasting space and weight. So I mean, there's things I can do to shave it off. But as far as getting down to like fighting for an ounce by trimming my toothbrush, I'm like, I don't see the gain in that one. It's just, but hey, that's
Ounces equal pounds.
right. Yeah, I suppose. No, I
they
will
do.
say,
But I still think I'm not that. I'm not gonna be that anal about stuff when it comes to going out. I'm not. I'm not gonna worry about trying to be one of these ultralight campers.
right.
Just simply because if I can get ultralight gear, well and good. Okay. But it is super expensive to get the ultralights. So
Right.
do I?
Right. Now, the night before, I did do a scrub on my pack, and I realized when I was going through certain kits, I've been throwing in strikers and ferro rods as I've been gifted. And I was like, I got
What?
all these different strikers and all these big old ferro rods, and I'm like, okay, let's take that out. There's 3 pounds. I was like, I don't need to have that much fire starting materials out there with me. So that was a good one. I'm like, okay, double check your kits. I mean, it's great to have tools, but do you really need 3, 4 ferro rods with you?
No,
Uh,
two. I usually
yeah,
like to double up on some things like fire starters.
yeah,
Have two different ways to start a fire.
right. Well,
Because if one fails, you have a backup.
right,
But I do see how easy it is because I went through my pack one time and pulled out 3 or 4 ferro rods, and I'm like, I don't need to have all of them in there. Just like what? And it's not that it's super heavy; it's just
yeah,
no
right.
sense to have it.
Well, I'm gonna
You
typically I'm gonna throw all the ones that I took out for that hike. I'm putting them right back in the same bag because it's my go-to place. But if I'm going to be hitting some miles, I'll trim it down. VB, I get you. My big thing is like, yeah, it's a lot of the stuff I practice in the backyard or some short hikes here. It's getting familiar with the equipment and routines because eventually the idea, at least for me, is go out on an adventure, whether it's the Rocky Mountains or the Ozark Trail or whatever it is, to go out someplace different. But I mean, but no, I'm with you, man. It's like if you're practicing, you don't need to be putting the miles. Me, I kind of like the miles for a workout, though.
Well, I mean, like my 5-item challenge, I wasn't that far away from home.
Mm,
for the 5 item challenge. But
right.
um, that's like that's
Good to
more
see.
like a little practice type thing.
Yeah.
You know, you
That's,
don't have to go far to do this stuff. If you want to do some stuff like that, you don't have to go super far. You don't have to be 10 or 15 miles in the woods, or
hey, Chris.
you know.
No, Chris had a good show on the Tom Garvey's or Tom Gravy keto cook. He did real good. He talked a lot about mushrooms and dehydrated food and stuff. No, 100% Al. I mean, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
if you're in the suburbs, you can still do it there. Or if if you got kids, we've got families that slept in their basements.
Mhm.
Just getting familiar with it. The most I've done is 3 miles an hour is with the other guys. That sounds like a pretty decent hike there, VB. And all right, Joe, you out of here? See you later, man. Yeah, I'll be seeing him next week. Yeah, Joe, I just gathered up a bunch of cedar and some cottonwood interbark for that bow drill classes next week. So yeah, I got to make some kits. Well, I'll probably do that Thursday when I'm hanging out around the fire with the guys. So kill some time there.
Hey, I'm gonna bow out. I gotta eat. I gotta eat supper.
Okay,
So,
Mark.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for coming up. Great discussion. Good
All right.
visiting with you, man. Later, brother.
You're always welcome, Mark.
bye, everybody in
See
the
ya.
chat.
What we got here? Winter camping seems to take a lot of weight from. Yeah, I've been watching those guys. I guess you kind of got to get a sled. There's a lot of time.
If you can get a sled to drag behind you, it's great, especially if you're in an area where you can drag a sled. Because where I'm to, I wouldn't attempt to drag a sled up over.
Yeah, I was thinking Indian Cave down the road a bit. If that would be worth it, they've got some shelters, primitive shelters there, but they've also got some booger of some hills to get up there. So I'm like, I have to really think about that one. But it would make probably good content. And what we were talking about earlier, ideas, right? Just
Yep.
kind.
Well, I'm trying to work out. Let me see. Let me see if I can give you an idea. Where's my? There it is. Looking for my map app, right? Not what you want to be looking for, especially if you're out. Elevation. Where am I getting elevation? Terrain, maybe. Yeah. No, it's still not giving me the elevation lines. Google Earth gives you the elevation lines, doesn't it?
I
I believe
think
it does.
so.
I'm
It's
going
been
to
a
check
while.
now.
I usually use AllTrail app, and I download the maps there ahead of time, and I love that even in airplane mode, it's most of the time it's going to tell me where I'm at and stay on track, which was really helpful. I tell you when there even today I was at a park where there's got lots of little bike trails and stuff. Man, I could have gotten all kinds of turned around, but I tell you, having that little electronic map, I was able to correct much quicker, much quicker than had I, going for a half a mile to a mile and realizing you're not where you think you're supposed to be. So, Chris, yeah, I listened to you and Tom and Mike the other day. That sounded like a pretty good discussion there. As far as sounds like you've been contacting them quite a bit. Yeah, if you guys don't know, Tom, the keto cook, and Mike is a keto journey. Good friends here.
Mike's Ketorific Journey.
Yeah, they Mike actually he spent some time out on the Appalachian Trail back in his younger years, and so he supports what we do. He's always like he likes to watch our videos and stuff, and they're good guys. I like them because one, they're good guys, but also they cook, and they're trying different things. And so, me, every time I go out, I want to try to cook something. Like it was crab cakes recently. Today it was only popcorn just because I wasn't feeling very motivated. But you know what? Fresh
It's .33 of a mile, so a third of a mile.
Out to your spot.
No, that's to get onto the top of the mountains.
Okay.
So in the third of a mile, you go from 10 meters sea level
Yeah.
to 700.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. that's what I was trying to say. There is it's a relatively steep climb in a short distance.
Right. And that's, I don't know. Do you ever have to warm up or anything like that before you take on a hill like that, or is just
Usually, I don't.
yeah.
Usually, and that's one of the things wherein I get part way up and I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the camera saying, I am not in shape for this.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty up there, Jen.
Right.
But that's one of the big things I look at when I go out is when I'm going on these hikes and stuff like that. How much am I carrying? And now, you
Right.
know, if I wasn't carrying anything, it's not that bad of a climb.
Right.
But when you strap even 30 pounds on your back,
Yep.
it makes quite a big of a difference when you're going up.
Yeah. See, it's I knew that I would, like last week when I was heading out, I was starting out uphill, and I know it takes me good somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, as when all the blood vessels open up and the muscles start loosening up. So I was like, don't go too hard right off the bat because you'll cramp up. I was like, start getting warmed up, and then once I felt everything open up, and I was like, okay, now I'm hitting my stride. And then that's when I started picking up the pace there, a little bit. But then again, though, I was also like, you got 2 hours. It's a 2 hour hike. So I'm like, don't sprint. Get to the top of this, go get to that tree, stop, breathe, Oh, that's a beautiful view. Go ahead and take a moment, take a picture.
Yep, taking the sights and as you're going. That's one of the things that I took a guy down to my fire camp one day and I was like, "Do you got lots of time?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got the whole day."
Mhm.
So then he was late coming down because he had to drop his little fella to daycare. It was okay, that's fine. It's fine. You still got the whole day? Yeah, I got the whole day. So we start walking. I said, it's going to be about 2 hours to get to where we're going. Okay, no problem. I said, be about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half coming back because it's a little easier coming back than it is going. Oh, that's no problem. I got all day. When we gets down to camp, I puts my backpack down. I was like showing him camp, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to be gone out of here before 4 o'clock because I got to go and get the little fella." I was like, "Tell you said you had all day." "Oh yeah, no, I got to get the little fella." It was like,
Right.
I was set to come down for the day. So then, of course, I had stuff to cook and everything like that. So I was like, we had to cook right away,
Yes.
right? And the steak was still frozen
Yes.
frozen solid. And I'm like, you said you had all day, man. It was like, yeah, but I got to go and get the little fella out of daycare. So I thought you said you had someone was picking him up so you could. No, I'm not in a camper.
Right.
I'm in my man cave, the back step cave.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you don't have time, that's fine. We can still go for a hike, but let me know because I wouldn't have carried
Right.
my axe, my chair, my all this extra stuff. I wouldn't have took because none of it got used because we went down, cooked steak, cooked some noodles, we
Right.
ate that, then we packed up everything and left and went again.
Right. No, I know what you mean. That
All right?
when I was telling you about where I shaved off about 3 miles from my buddy,
Yeah.
they had a kid to pick up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And yeah, it's like
Whereas Gerbs always says, he go, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like I had all intent. We had other activities planned too.
Yeah.
With the stuff. So I didn't get to stay and do all of that the way I wanted to. It was just, quickly stop and say, okay, well, here, take a few out of this and
Right.
pack everything up and just go on again. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he's the whole way back is, are we going to get back in time? Are we
Right.
gonna,
Right.
Like,
Right.
look, I told you how long it's going to take to get back. We left at this time. We will be back in time. I said, I do know where I'm going and how I'm getting there.
Right.
And it's like, if I tell you it's going to take an hour and a half, it's going to take an hour and a half
Right.
for me,
Totally. Right. Right.
which is
Yeah.
stopping every night. And this is a guy, he was at the gym every day and he's very well in shape. So for him to walk the trails was a lot easier for me, not to mention the fact instead of taking a backpack, because he knew he wasn't going to be very long, he took a shoe bag for
Oh,
his
really?
backpack.
Huh.
So that's how much stuff he had with him. It was all inside the shoe bag. So I'm like, man, I'm carrying like 50 pounds on my back. You're carrying like 50 ounces.
Right. Yeah.
Don't, you know?
I hear. Oh man. Yeah, I get you. As like that, I guess the only takeaway you can be like, well, I guess we got out with a friend, but yeah, it's.
Yeah, well, it was good to get out with
Going in, yeah,
it was
would have
good
been
to get
nice
out
to
with
know
a
some of
friend.
it ahead of time. You know.
Yes.
See,
It
that's why.
was, it was really nice to get out with him and get him down to camp and show him around camp and what I've
Right.
been doing and stuff like this.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like when he showed up and I'm already out with all of my gear on, waiting for him to pull up in the car.
Yeah.
And he pulls up in the car and puts on his pair of rubber boots and holds out a shoe bag
Right.
for a backpack.
Right.
I mean, like this is a guy that knew he wasn't going for very long.
Right. Or
And he
unless.
could have told me right then and there, and I could have dumped a lot out of my backpack back in my house.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. No.
Right?
Yeah, because it's like that's. I guess he was just living in his own world with the blinders
Mm.
on. But yeah.
Mm.
So like last week. That's right.
I got someone in my chat asking, which states are you guys in? I'm not in the States,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Even though you see this behind me,
Yeah.
do I want to be in the States? Yeah. Am I in the States? No. I'm in Newfoundland, Canada. And our good friend Johnny is in Nebraska.
That's right. VB, and I get you. It's like I like a day dedicated just to getting outdoors. And it's like yesterday, normally Thursday's my day out, but I had too many family commitments. And eventually I was like, you know what? The only way I can make it work is to make Thursday a gym day and other chore days and everything. And then Friday, give up my Friday schedule. So I could go out and do that, but even get back. But I'm like, no, I get you. You want it to be worth the effort. Which, by the way, I don't know if you watched Virginia Bushcraft's latest video. He spent hours processing wood, which I know you are certainly familiar with doing that, Al. But yeah, it was, folks, if you guys haven't seen it, yeah, he's got a nice little series where he started with a lean-to debris shelter, converted it to an A-frame, and then now he slept in it, and so he's putting in the hours out there. It's kind of neat to see. It's been out. I think a few weeks went by before he could get back out there, and it's weathered the storm pretty well. So, but yeah, it's I don't know. We take what we can get. Sometimes I can only go in the backyard. You can only go in the back step, but we're still going to play.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, now I know what I was going to say. Last week, I was supposed to have a partner on the trail, and so I'm sitting there, game timing it. I'm like, if he comes, I actually had a stake for him and stuff, and I was like, this is the setup, but if he doesn't, I'm still going. And I'm like, and it just changed my mind. No more strength in numbers. I was like, okay, you are completely on your own. Don't even think about getting help. So be cautious. Be cautious out there. Don't twist an ankle, fall, break a leg or something like that. You want to get home. So, which caused me to move even slower than what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was good. I'm happy I did it. and now I'm looking forward to I guess the next couple of weeks. Next week is Kit Tibbetts gathering, so I'll teach bow drill and I'll hang out there. And after that, off to Ohio. If I have a full pack, I don't come home for usually 2 to 3 days. That sounds about right.
It sounds like very good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a place I want to take you to in Colorado. I think it's up by the Bells. I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
No.
It's up at altitude. A lot of people like to go up there to get married, but I was watching one backpacker, Syntax 77, and he got up to this lake, and it's just gorgeous there. Now, he would quickly moved on to do the rest of the loop. Me, I'm like, I'm going to go there and park it for a few days.
Yeah. Just sit there for a while and take it in.
Yes. I'm like, I don't mind sucking in, thin air for a while to get to a spot that's worth it. I'm like, I think it was so pretty. I'm like, Al, you would love it. You make it out here, I think that would be a trip we should make happen.
Johnny is actually the host of this stream. I'm sharing out my stream from Johnny's. Johnny, for whatever reason here right now, StreamYard is not showing my chat to Johnny, so I got it up. So I'm keeping an eye on you guys over there.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm like, I see you up here. It says you're streaming it.
Yeah.
And it says I can remove you, but I ain't going to do that. So I'm like, technology.
Yeah, mine just says I'm live, and
how many you got
I
on your
can
side?
edit and remove. Right now I have 5.
Okay.
It's been hovering between the 5 and 10 for the most part.
I got 5. Good Times has 4 over there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to VB to stay out very long. I've done a couple by myself, but normally that's been in more established areas, campgrounds and stuff. But I want to stay longer. If I had the time, I would have stayed in Missouri a couple more days. But gotta get back. Didn't get me thinking though, because it was absolutely zero signal. I do have to get one of those garments, so I can at least GPS signal back to stuff. Wasn't really worried about the Yodis out there. I was keeping that in mind from Jason's experience. But
it wasn't as big as worry as what he had.
Yeah.
You're okay.
The
hiss. I opened the bottle and the hiss of it. Doors hopped up and moved. She's like, nope.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Oh man. So gosh, this was been a good chat. I really enjoyed having the different panelists up here. Mark was
it's nice sometimes to just open it up.
Right. So well, it's while we didn't talk specifically the challenge, we did talk about getting out, which is going to lead to other challenges for sure.
But we talked about a bunch of different challenges, so it all falls into it. We did a lot of camping talk and stuff like that, and that's what we're here for today. And it doesn't always have to be
right. The challenge.
Let's talk about the videos every single time we come up. It doesn't always, and we've said that from the get-go. It's not always going to be that.
No.
Some days we're just going to get on here and hang out and talk about our camp stuff.
Right. And that's good because as much as I enjoy our Wednesday chats, the crowd is diverse. So it is good to. This is about as close as you and I can get right now, sitting around a campfire and just kind of chit chatting about these types of things. 14 days, dang! 14 days every summer at AT. That's pretty darn cool. I'd love to section hike for about five. Spend a week, go from point to point.
See, if I was going to go on an extended trip like that, I'd like to do it in, okay, we're going to find a really good spot, and that's going to be base camp for the 14 days.
Yeah.
And then let's see what we can do with this area for 2 weeks.
Right.
because the day before or the day that you're leaving, you can always, like, if we're building camp chairs and furniture, making it homey,
Right. Yeah.
right? And then the day that you're leaving, it's just, cut the string and
Oh, let it fall apart. Yeah.
toss your materials. You don't have to leave it in place and stuff like that. But that's more of what I
See,
would like to do on a thing like that.
that would be fun. Absolutely, for sure. See, that's the one survival school I was looking at doing the intermediate, and I think its roots were more, what do you call it, old time survival.
Yeah.
Traditionalist, giving almost like time period. It's by the time I've got it to it, it's morphed into more like old school survival, where you're listing objectives whereas opposed to, hey, we're gonna go out and catch some fish, and here's how you do some trips, with fishing, like you got poles or nets or snares, and you're trying to live off the land that way. Now it's more of goal oriented. So originally that's what I thought this one place I was looking at. So now I think I realize I have to develop the skills and the connections to say, guys, we're going to plan on it. Now, it's been my mind to do the Grand Canyon, but now I'm kind of shifting that. I'm like, sure, that would be neat, but my life's not going to be incomplete if I don't do it. I would probably rather do what you're doing, because as we're both sitting around the campsite, we're, chopping, whittling, lashing things together. And we're like, hey, we did it. No, ain't this cool? And you sit and enjoy it for a while. You got your chair or whatever it is. And you walk out, I'm like, man, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is like, especially if you're going somewhere, say, I've seen lots of people doing the canoe trips and stuff like that, where I'm gone for a week and every single day you have to get to a certain point, and then you got to set up camp, and the next morning you got to tear it all down and you got to get to this next point. Yeah, that can be fun because they have a lot of fun on the water in the canoes.
Yeah.
I'm more of I'd rather have fun on the shore building stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
No problem with getting to that point, but eventually you get to the point you want to spend some time there.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, if I was going, for me, a canoe trip would be, okay, I'm getting dropped at this pond.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work my way around till I find a good spot that's close to the water that I can make a camp, and I'm going to stay there.
Right.
For X number of days.
Right.
And then each day in the morning or evening, I want to go out in the canoe and try to catch fish for my breakfast or supper or whatever. I can go on out in the canoe and try to catch, but I will have enough stuff, dried foods and stuff like that, to do me if I didn't catch any fish.
Exactly. Right.
Okay?
Yeah. Right. Now, I wouldn't mind if we do a day thing. It's like you're doing the catch and cook. And it's like, all right, this 24 hours, provide for your own if it's a challenge, And if you don't catch fish, it's short enough time. You might be hungry, but you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And it's like when you pack up, then you open up your Cliff Bar and you eat. Okay. It's like, okay, time's up. Now I got to go. I got to eat. But yeah, totally. I'm with you, because I'm like, I would do the exact same thing. I've tried to catch fish or whatever. And if I don't, I brought provisions.
Well, if I go down and catch another wall bologna, I'm good for a few days, for the 24 hours. There's enough eating on that.
And I want to smoke a bologna. I've seen that done before, and I'm like, I got to do that one of these days.
Yeah.
But absolutely, one bologna, you're good for a while. Although you might have to smoke it or make jerky out of it so it doesn't go bad there, Al. You got so much time to go by. He says AT has too many falls, hand over. Oh yeah, those hand over hand cable bridges and stuff. There's some tough sections on the AT for sure. Which you'll figure I'm not I don't know, seriously, professional backpacker. I'm more of a day hiker kind of deal. So
yeah,
I'll choose the easier ones.
Yeah, we're not out there thrill seeking backpacking. No.
Well, No.
Right.
Now, if I
That's
went over,
another thing.
yeah, I'd have to go with somebody that knew what they were doing for that one. But if you need, if you're wanting to hang around at the campsite, making fire and cooking and few basic survival skills, I'm your man. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, hey,
Yeah.
guess what? We did 2 hours.
Oh yeah, no problem.
But I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead and finish your thought there. You're gonna.
No, that's okay. That emptied out of my head as quick as it came in.
Oh, did it? I got it. Well, I guess we'll have to see if I can percolate that up again next week.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be discussing. What am I doing next week? Oh,
What are you
I'm going to
doing?
Kansas.
You're going to Kansas.
I'm going to Kansas to see Joe, and I'm teaching bow drill. I'll probably teach a bow drill lesson on Friday. I know I'll
Nice.
probably do one on Saturday. So,
Did you want me to take next week's and start it, or?
might be good. And then, what I'll probably do, I'll drive to town where I can get a signal.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump on board.
No problem.
Probably be restricted to my cell phone, but at least I can be there.
Yeah.
And then I can stream it on my channel as well, but won't be able to see it, I'm sure. But I can at least work off of that. But yeah, why don't you set that up and you can do it. You want to stick with 5 o'clock, or this time like what we're doing right now?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me. So I'll probably do it around this time because it might be a bit easier for you to
Worked on my schedule.
to get onto it and work it into your schedule.
Yeah. So I just have to remember, I'm like, guys, I got to go to town. It's like, because where I'm at, there is no signal out there. So, but okay, so I'll be doing that from Kansas, which is why I'm like, yeah, I'm getting out.
Don't be rubbing it in.
Let's see here. But yeah, I've got to get a video ready by then too. So, all right. Well, hey folks, been a fast 2 hours at least for us. Great conversations. Thanks to everybody that jumped up on there, especially Mark for hanging in there for so long. Bree, Rebecca, so good to see you guys up here, and Al, my brother from another mother. Thank you as always for you being you. Everybody that hung in there, appreciate you very much. And with that, I think we're going to close things down and get a little bit of supper. So y'all take care, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Thanks for stopping in, everyone.